They met in the quiet space between certainty and desire. Candlelight softened the room, turning edges into whispers. He did not touch her at first. He never rushed the threshold. Instead, he asked softly, precisely where her boundaries lived, and she answered with the honesty that only trust invites. Consent settled between them like a vow, spoken without ceremony yet heavy with meaning. When he finally stepped closer, it was not possession he offered, but structure. A frame strong enough for her to lean into. His voice, calm and deliberate, became an anchor. Each instruction was a promise. I see you. I will hold you steady. She gave herself not as surrender, but as choice. A silk tie circled her wrists, symbol more than restraint, reminding her that release can be found in limitation. He watched her breathe, adjusted when her breath changed, and smiled when she smiled. Power flowed not downward, but in a closed loop, fed by care and returned as devotion. Between moments, he checked in with a glance, a word, the lightest brush of fingers. Between heartbeats, she discovered how safe it felt to be guided. How intoxicating it was to trust someone who treated her vulnerability as sacred ground. Later, when the candles burned low, he loosened every knot with reverence. He wrapped her in warmth, in reassurance, in the simple truth that what they shared was not about control, but about connection, crafted deliberately and held gently. In that space, love did not shout, it whispered. Aftercare became the quiet chapter that mattered most. He stayed close, not looming, not distant, present. A blanket around her shoulders, a glass of water held until she took it. His thumb traced slow circles on her wrist where silk had rested, grounding her back into the room. No roles, no commands now, only tenderness earned by the care that came before. She spoke softly about what surprised her, how strength had felt gentle, how being seen so completely had loosened something old inside her. He listened without fixing, without claiming credit. He thanked her for her trust, for her courage, for the way she had met him halfway and made the space real. They lay there, breathing in sync, the echo of intensity settling into warmth. The power exchange didn't vanish, it transformed into mutual respect, into a deeper knowing. What lingered wasn't the restraint or the guidance, but the certainty that they could return to that edge again, safely, whenever they chose. Love in their language was not soft all the time. It was deliberate, it was careful, and it always brought them home.
The room was prepared long before she arrived. Not with urgency, but intention. Clean lines dot soft shadows. A quiet order that promised safety rather than spectacle. When she stepped inside, he didn't reach for her. He waited. Because anticipation, when honored, becomes intimacy. They spoke first. Not in rehearsed phrases, but in truths. What she longed for. What she feared. What words would stop everything, instantly, without question. Each answer tightened the invisible bond between them, until the air itself felt charged with agreement. When he finally took her hands, his touch was unhurried, deliberate, as if he were learning a language written only in pulse and breath. A leather cuff closed gently around her wrist, not to confine her, but to remind her, you are held. His guidance was calm, measured, never raised, never rushed. She followed, not because she had to, but because she wanted to feel the relief of letting go, of placing the weight of choice into someone who treated it with reverence. Power moved between them like a current, alive, responsive, mutual. Every pause was intentional. Every adjustment an act of care. She felt seen, not for what she endured, but for what she offered. Trust, vulnerability, presence. When the scene ended, it ended softly. He released her before she asked, wrapped her in warmth, stayed with her while the world came back into focus. No masks, no roles. Just two people sharing the quiet afterglow of something deeply human. What bound them wasn't restraint, it was respect. And the knowledge that desire, when guided by care, becomes something beautiful enough to remember.
The evening unfolded slowly, the way meaningful things always do. Outside, the world carried on in noise and urgency, but inside the room there was only calm. Intentional, steady, patient. Low light traced the walls, not to obscure, but to soften. Every detail had been chosen not for drama, but for trust. When she arrived, he greeted her with warmth, not possession, a smile. Eye contact held just long enough to ask a question without words. Are you here by choice? Her answer lived in the way she stepped closer. They sat together first, grounded, equal. They spoke about limits as if they were sacred landmarks, not obstacles. About desires not as demands but as invitations. About safety words and signals. About aftercare. About how power, real power, only exists when it can be returned without fear. Only then did he stand. He didn't command her to follow. He offered his hand. When she took it, something shifted, not into submission, but into alignment. Her breath slowed as he guided her with quiet confidence, every movement deliberate, every pause listening for consent as much as response. Restraint, when it came, was ceremonial rather than forceful, a symbol of intention. A reminder that she was choosing stillness, choosing structure, choosing to rest inside someone else's steady presence. He adjusted constantly, watching her shoulders, her breathing, the subtle language of her body that spoke louder than words ever could. His voice became a metronome. Calm, reassuring, never raised, never rushed. Each instruction carried care beneath it, each moment framed by awareness. She felt the paradox settle in, how surrender, when chosen, can feel like strength. Time stretched. The world narrowed to sensation and trust and the quiet electricity between them. Power flowed back and forth, invisible but alive, shaped by attention rather than force. She wasn't disappearing. She was becoming more present than she had been in a long time. And when it was enough, he knew. He released her before the moment frayed, before intensity tipped into excess, before trust could be tested instead of honoured. The transition was gentle, practiced, loving. He wrapped her in warmth, grounded her with touch, brought her back not as an ending, but as a continuation. They stayed there together, unhurried. She spoke about what it felt like to let go without being lost. He listened like someone entrusted with something fragile and priceless. There was no claiming. No ownership beyond the shared understanding of what they had created together. What lingered wasn't the structure or the restraint. It was the care, the intention, the quiet certainty that intimacy, when built on trust, can be as profound as it is beautiful. And when they finally stood, side by side again, the connection remained, unseen, unbroken, ready to be revisited whenever they chose to step back into that space, together,